then. Really nice to meet everyone. My name is Jesse Lambden, and I'm just going to go to the second slide here. So I've been actually out of the country, out of the US since 2010. I'm speaking to you now from Albania. I don't know if anyone in the group has been here, so if you have, maybe throw that in the chat as well. Did 4 years in Thailand, and since basically 2014, my wife and I have gone nomadic and been bouncing around the world, primarily in Europe, and one stint so far in Northern Africa and Tunisia, and we're going to Istanbul in about 4 months. So this is our kind of, we were work at home way before the pandemic. We were unusual at that time. So we both, since 2016, have run together our own MBA consulting company and helping international applicants. And I started primarily with Japanese, actually, and have been expanding since that point. It's a big part of the reason that I did join Leland quite recently, as I wanted to, continue to expand that global reach. So I've been successful with all applicants that I've worked with. So I encourage you to get in touch. I'll be happy to talk about your situation. Any top school, I've gotten applicants into every top school globally. So whatever you're interested in, I'm happy to discuss. All right, so giving you the kind of overview, I'm going to just get into the kind of basics of the various types of the ways you can research resources. Then we're going to get into the idea of this MBA journey document. And as an example, then we're going to I'm going to introduce Alana, and she and I have been working together for just the past week, and I've been helping her kind of begin her in-depth research process. And so we're going to see some of what we've accomplished with her. And then finally talk about how you can actually use this research to truly differentiate your application, both in the written components and in the interviews. With that, let me open a question to the group, which is how important do you think school research is in this process? And I'll let anyone jump in there. Extremely important, yes, okay. Why? I like the short answer. And if anyone wants to speak, you can go ahead and jump in. For now, we'll try and just kind of make it honor system, and unless it gets crazy.
Our office here, she's doing extraction for baby tape for orthodontical. One of her teeth have fallen out.
Very important.
Oh, okay. So we can let Nicole know.
Show your international indecision.
Discuss what is this about also extract.
All right. Sorry, I'm hearing someone's got their mic on just with background. Let's see. One sec. Sorry, I have to. This is my first time dealing with Leland's webcast system, so bear with me on that. Okay. No, okay, now I can see everyone's mics. All right, great. I've actually begun a series recently of interviews with current MBA students and recent graduates and alumni, as well as admissions staff. And I will show you in this last interview I had, which I can give you the link to it a little bit later if you like. I was talking with Tomo. He's the the deputy director of admissions at the IESE business school in Spain. And I was really trying to dive deep, and we're talking about when decisions are being made in the admissions committee and what happens when you have two applicants who in essentially every way are equal, and how do they make that final decision in that kind of toss-up. And he literally said to me that the one who had proved their love the most to the school, so the one who had engaged most, and that had come through in the written components, in the interviews. They do also video interviews, and also in any engagement that they had directly with the admissions staff, for example, with him. So as far as what makes a school feel that love, engagement is the beginning. They want to see you at all of their events, or at least a lot of them. If you can visit the school, that's great. Engage with the admissions staff early on. Talk to current students, alumni. That's the idea. Then they want you to really prove that you've done that homework. And in all of your documents throughout your application, really just demonstrating that very deep, very specific knowledge of the program, and then explaining to them very, very, very specifically, I can't stress specifically enough, why you are a perfect fit for each other. You know, you're always hearing people talk about school fit. This is what they mean. Just why are you right for them? Why are they right for you? So in addition to the research, the most important thing in my mind is deep introspection, really getting to know yourself, your past, both your personal and professional. The present you can think of as the school, as the MBA program. And your future, of course, is your goals. It's where you're trying to get. And you're trying to draw a very nice, easy to follow line from your background to, you have your goals, but there are some things you're missing that you can only get from the school. And importantly, you need to show them you can only get it from their school, from their program. They want to feel really special, and they want to be very clear that that they can play that critical role in launching you into achieving those short-term goals, and then those incredible dreams that you have long-term. They want to have their brand on you and see you succeed. Then what you're going to do is try and think about from that background, what are the kind of things that you're going to be able to gain? What are the holes that you need to fill to succeed? And what are the things that you're going to contribute? And you're going to use some of that thinking as you do your research. Next, you're going to then be ready to actually create your MBA journey document, which the best way to begin this is by going to the school's website and going through their curriculum, taking their whole curriculum and basically copying and pasting the stages throughout the 1 or 2 years, or whichever it is, depending on the program you're targeting. And you're going to try and identify throughout the program the things that you're going to gain. You need to improve your leadership. This is how you're going to do it in term 1. This is what's going to help in term 2. You're going to make this type of contribution. You want to get involved with diversity initiatives. From the beginning, you're joining this club because you want to do this. That's the kind of idea. So you're constantly trying to kind of make that match of what you need or what you're going to contribute, and something very specific within the school's program. Sorry. Okay, so as far as the places that you're going to go to research, the obvious ones are the official site. And that is, it's very easy to get stuck just in the very surface level materials, but if you just let yourself go down the rabbit hole, just keep digging and digging and digging, you'll find most websites, school websites, do have an incredible amount of information. The admissions blog, faculty and staff. Then, as I said, go to any of the virtual events, in person if you can. Very important, and we're going to talk a lot about this a little bit later, engaging with current students and alumni. And LinkedIn is the superpower with regard to that. Again, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Forums are terrific. GMAT Club, you probably know all of these. Clear Admit, Poets and Quants, of course, Leland. Search and AI, this is an important one. Everyone wants to use ChatGPT now. It is a great resource. I encourage you to use it. even in this research stage, you can certainly go in there and ask it questions and try and have it help you gather information. Just don't trust everything it tells you. You will definitely find that there are many hallucinations, as they call it, just incorrect information. It will tell you there's a professor at Stanford who is not at Stanford. And I have literally already seen applicants who have trusted ChatGPT and mentioned a professor in that situation who was not at the school they were applying to. So I'm sure you can imagine they got rejected in that case. With Google, doing searches where you are thinking about whatever you're coming from, whatever your goals are, and putting in, like doing Boolean searches and putting in quotes some of the kind of key phrases that are related to what you're trying to achieve, and then putting in the name of your business school. It's very simple, but it actually will turn up a lot of really useful information. Today we're going to be using London Business School as our example. However, everything we're talking about is applicable to any school. So you just can think of how you can then just apply it to whichever school you are researching. So as I said, you're going to get the entire curriculum, and then the idea is you're imagining what your entire experience is going to be like. Now, the reality might change significantly once you get there. I'm not saying you're creating some plan that is going to be set in stone, but you're using this as a way to guide that research so that you dive deep enough into the program. It is going to give you a kind of roadmap that you will be able to use to get a head start when you get to school. You'll have all of these ideas, and you may start changing once you get there, but it's going to prepare you so you don't waste a lot of time there. And you're then going to be able to figure out how to use all this information in your applications and your interviews. Possibly most importantly, you're going to figure out if the school is actually right for you. Everyone just thinks of the brands and fine, I want to go to HBS because it's so incredible, but it may not actually be right for you when you really learn about the program. The case method is not the best way for every personality to learn. So now let me go, whoops, sorry. Let's jump, sorry, a second. So Alana, at this point, why don't I bring you in here, and I'd love to have you introduce yourself and kind of share your initial reaction to starting this deep school research process with me.
Okay, yes. So hello, everyone. My name is Alana, and I am an international project manager for the U.S. Department of Defense. So when I guess sort of where I am in my applications journey, I began doing my own independent research back in March, and I was going just like searching, doing the like basic school program searches, just trying to find out what schools I would be interested in and just sort of seeing which ones would sort of like meet my criteria and sort of offer me what I'm looking for in their programs. And so I've been doing that for a few months. And then this past week, I just started working with Jesse, and he introduced me sort of to this, like sort of the deep level of research that he helps conduct. And together we created the document you see on the screen. And something that shocked me once I started working with him was just the amount of detail and sort of how deep into the research you really want to get in order to best support your application and your essays. And sort of like through this, how you can pick specific attributes from each program, tie them to your own personal goals and what you value, and how you can better write to those things in your application.
Sorry. Yeah, thanks so much, Alana. So as you can see here, to give you an idea of how in depth you may end up going, her document is currently 29 pages long. So there's tons and tons of information. It's a little bit deceiving in the sense that some of it is we are identifying potential target alumni. So we've pasted in, 10 different people. So that's it's going to expand and contract pretty radically at various times. So now let me go on to some examples of what some of the things that Alana has identified so far as we've kind of gotten started. So one of her goals is to enhance your leadership. So here again, you're just starting with what are you trying to gain? And going through LBS's program, already identified the global leadership assessment for managers. This is something that happens right at the beginning of the program. You do personality tests and then sit with professionals who are going to kind of try and help you begin that process of learning enough about yourself to find your leadership style. London CAP, Impact Consulting Club. So these are some very specific programs that are examples of things that will enhance her leadership. She wants to gain strategy and analytics knowledge and skills through electives. Maybe I should actually, Alana, have you jump into, can you explain your goals, and that will make it more logical as we're talking about this too.
Okay, yes. So my goals are to pivot how do I explain this? So I'm looking to sort of exit the industry that I'm currently in and pivot into a new industry. And then also I am looking to change my geographic region as well and work in Europe post my MBA. So those were sort of like the goals I had in mind when I was looking and researching into the school.
Thank you so much, Alana. So then you can understand she's trying to pivot into strategy consulting. So these are all in the second year, and in LBC's program, the whole second year is electives, and completely you control the program. So these are a number of very specific courses that clearly will fill that gap for her. And she's going to continue researching that and thinking about the professors and researching the professors. And that may be something that comes in later too. Maybe there's like one particular professor that becomes special to Alana that she's going to highlight in an essay or in answering an interview question. So then also wanting to gain increased exposure to other industries. So one example of that was at LBS, they have study groups, which are 5 to 6 people. They very carefully make sure it's generally all different nationalities, different backgrounds. So everyone you will find from that program just raves about this experience. So that was just one other example. Now switching to contributions, Alana has a lot related to diversity and inclusion initiatives. So her experience example is that she's been supporting the department's recruiting and mentoring initiatives for female and other underrepresented demographics, civilian officers. So we were then connecting that to the goal of becoming the president of the Women in Business Club. And that would be a good role at school to kind of continue that route. Do you have anything to add to that, Alana?
No, I think this is such a great example of what we were kind of able to work on together this past week and take sort of my specific experience and the passions and values I have tied to my experience and being able to directly link and bridge with the program I'm looking to apply to. So this is a great example.
Excellent. All right. And why don't I have you just kind of keep going with that? In this case, now we're talking about you have this target. When you are a career changer, this is certainly more difficult than when you're staying in the same industry. Some people are even staying within the same companies if you're company sponsored. So you really have to prove that you have to make them believe that you are going to be able to succeed in exiting the MBA program into that new career. So why don't you walk us through some of these things you already identified as ways that you are going to prepare to succeed?
Okay, yes. So with sort of how I'm looking for my sort of like exit goal, I think first is kind of identifying what my weaknesses are, sort of in that, what my weaknesses will kind of be in this process, and what different skills and experiences I need in order to be successful. So sort of doing that sort of like introspective look, and being sort of clear and sort of candid with what those things that I may lack are, and being able to tie those directly into opportunities within the program that I can use to grow and get the experiences and opportunities that would help me.
Perfect. Yes. And so you can see here, I won't bother going through this. Hopefully everyone's had enough time to take those examples in. And we'll go on to, this is one of the most important and useful and productive parts of the research that you can do, which is the direct engagement with the current students and alumni. So how do people feel? Do you all immediately see how important this is, or anyone have any thoughts on that?
I did have a question about this.
Yeah, go for it.
So I feel like oftentimes, especially with certain MBA questions, right, in the essays, how do you do this gracefully? How do you bring this up without seeming like you're just name dropping someone who goes there for the sake of it?
Yeah, a very good question, and actually something we're going to get to in just a moment. The short answer is you you are saying that you learned something from that person that is relevant to whatever you are talking about. You're not just saying, hey, I talked to these people. You're saying, well, for example, with Alana, being interested in becoming the president of the Women in Business Club, she is going to reach out to the current president and talk with them and try and learn about their experience, and then learn about what would the process be to even, follow in her footsteps to become the next president. So now in your essay, obviously it's not just name dropping. If you say, one of my goals as far as a contribution is to lead the Women in Business Club for the reasons that we talked about earlier. And because of that, I took the initiative and reached out to the current president and had a wonderful conversation and blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yes, to some extent.
Okay, we'll feel free to follow up when we get towards the end here.
Thank you.
So in this case, with LinkedIn, the easiest way, depending on if you have a free account or premium account, I recommend for this period, it's worth getting the premium account to be able to contact anyone. You're more limited with the free, but even with the free, if you begin just by searching for your school's name, it will then give you more filters that you can use to narrow down your search. And you're trying to find, on the alumni side, you're trying to find examples of people who have done what you are trying to do. That's the absolute best, right? So in Alana's case, she's coming from government, in this very specifically coming from the Department of Defense, and trying to pivot into strategy consulting, and even mentioned specifically international engagements. So what we did is to look for people who in the past worked for the Department of Defense, and then got an MBA from LBS. And then we were trying to identify people who are now in a strategy consulting role. And so these are the people that then Alana is going to try and reach out to. I mentioned here, going beyond your nationality is really a good thing to do. Most people stick to their nationality, and it's impressive to the admissions committee and to interviewers when you are, mentioning examples of conversations you've had with people from various countries, especially if you're applying to the incredibly diverse European programs. Talking about how you're referencing them, there's a couple more examples here that you can see, which I won't go back over for now. I'll just go on. Okay, reminding myself, when you reach out, brainstorm a list of personalized questions to ask each person, depending on who they are and how it relates to what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to learn. Be very careful not to just ask simple questions that you could easily find the answers to on the school's website. I did another interview recently with an HEC Paris recent graduate. He gave me an example of an applicant who chased him for like 2 weeks. Finally, they spoke. He asked super basic questions, basically things that were on the school's FAQs, and he was quite annoyed. So make sure you value their time. Let me go on. Okay, this is something that I really feel is practically unknown in this process. Everyone's just thinking about the application and how to get in. But during the application period, you have this unbelievable bonus, which is you can contact alumni from all of the schools that you are applying to. So you're applying to 4 schools. You have 4 alumni networks that you can take advantage of. And people who would not normally respond to you, when you reach out saying, I'm applying to your school and can we have a coffee chat, whatever, you will be surprised how many people will agree, even as you start getting way up the management chain. I do recommend trying to contact people at different stages of your vision. So some people that have graduated recently, they're in roles that are like your short-term goals. Some people who are more at the midterm point of where you're trying to get. And you can even reach out to that 20 years into the future, whatever it is, you're imagining being a CEO, whatever, and you find someone. There's no harm. Go ahead and try reaching out to even that person, and you very well may even get a response from them. After you're admitted, you're narrowed to your own school's network, which is still wonderful, but this is a limited time opportunity before. And other benefits, you might be able to get some of them to give you letters of support. You might find mentors. Internships and jobs, this is the other big deal with this, is you have that wide net that you can cast at this juncture. And even if you choose a different school, you may be able to reach out to someone that you ended up speaking to and talking about an internship at their company or a job opportunity. So Alana, I wanted to come back to you here and talk about how has the research you've done changed your approach to writing essays and preparing for interviews. Now we're talking about how to take all of that research and integrate it into the applications and interviews.
Okay, yes. So my, I guess like strategy going into drafting these essays and drafting the application has shifted a lot. I now have a lot more ideas and details that I can pull from to make my application really unique and have it sort of better showcase my unique attributes and sort of things that I can provide to the program, as well as specific things that I can detail that would benefit me while being in the program, and that will help me accomplish my goals post. And sorry, what was the second part of that question, Jesse? I think you may be on mute.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes, I was coming back to from when we talked before the event, actually yesterday too. You were talking about how surface level it had been, and then how that had changed for you.
Okay, yes. Yeah, the conversation we had, it was something that I like can look back and see sort of on the like my first draft of my essays were all really generic, and they could be applied to like if I just showed you this essay, you could kind of put it to any of my target schools. It wasn't like it had details specific sort of to me, but the things I was kind of pulling from could easily be applied to any school. But through this research, I can now specifically tie certain characteristics of like LBS and put them into my essay. And I can craft something specifically for this program that will best highlight sort of the things that I mentioned before, what I bring, what I could gain specific to this school. And then also like continuing research with my other target schools. The same thing, I can pull specific attributes and I can craft an application that would be, I guess, in like quotes, perfect for each school. And that will best put me, it would best suit me to each of the programs I'm applying to.
Perfect, perfect. So I'll go on now to give some specific examples of exactly what Alana was just talking about, of that highly generic versus highly specific. So the example of maybe what you would have written, a month ago. I'm excited about LBS's strong, amazingly diverse community. Okay, I hear this all the time when I'm interviewing people who I haven't worked with earlier. I say, well, okay, anyone could be saying this. So instead, something like, I'm particularly drawn to LBS because 94% of students are international, representing 60 plus countries. I've spoken to more than 20 alumni, and they all said that the diversity was embodied in their study groups, where they built lifelong friendships. So just one example. Another here as far as the interviews, same concept. I want to enhance my leadership skills at LBS, and LBS is known for its amazing leadership program. Okay, versus I am eager to participate in programs like GLAM, London Cab, the Impact Consulting Club at LBS. These opportunities will allow me to assess and develop my leadership competencies in a multicultural environment while participating in real client engagements and applying my skills to impactful projects. So with that, I think we've got a good amount of time, excellent, to be able to start going into questions. And if people want, I can put Alana's document on screen. We can go through some of that if you want. I can pull up LinkedIn if you want to do some example searches, but people let me know what you're most interested in. Or are there questions out of the gate, or should I actually go ahead and put questions and I will start, I'll pull up her document as we're talking. Let's see. I'm looking back here. Okay, does this research process change at all for deferred MBA applicants? Good question. I don't really think so at all. It's just your background won't have as much professional experience. Everything else is going to be the same. So if you have a follow-up, let me know. But in general, I'd say absolutely the same. Where are you putting this in the essays? Did I already answer that a bit? Let me know if there's a follow-up on that one. Okay, yes, Alana's document. Yes, that sounds good. All right, so bear with me while I get that set then. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, let me know if everyone can see that now. Okay. Excellent. Sorry, I just got two about. Okay, great. Sorry. Sorry, there's a problem on my screen. Okay. Sorry, one sec. I just had a problem, technical. Try one more time. Okay, great. Okay, so yes, now here we are in Alana's document, and the beginning here is all information about her. So we started with current role, target industry. You'll see there's still a lot of areas where we've just got to fill in. As I said, we only started less than a week ago. So target geography, what are your goals, long-term, why the school itself, your passion, strengths, weaknesses, all of these kind of issues. And then we're getting into, these are all possible contributions. This is what Alana had originally written, and then we were starting to brainstorm lots more possibilities. As far as planning out the school that we were talking about, you're going to go down to school overview. A couple key things. Who is the school looking for is always one simple, good starting point. And you don't want to change yourself at all, but you do want to think about which of the things that they are specifically mentioning do you naturally fit that you can highlight. Then getting into the actual structure, this you can see is LBS's program structure, and we then base the rest of the document on this. So they go through term by term, year by year. And then we took that and put that here to then start plugging in everything that Alana is learning as she researches. So here she's learning about orientation, the GLAM that we were talking about that she highlighted. These are an article read, and then specific quotes. You can really organize this however is logical to you. Everyone's going to be a little bit different on that. Then I think we jumped down to really year 2 and getting into these were some possible electives, this kind of thing. So what questions do people have then based on the document, or anything I can answer about that? Going back. How do you decide which experiences to highlight in essays? Yeah, these are all. I don't want to get too stuck on the essay side. I want to stay as much as we can towards the research elements. I don't want to end up making it a complete, like switching all the way to essays. But the basic idea is what we've been talking about. Think about what you learn about the school, and then as far as stories, then think what are your stories that are going to best support whatever you are talking about, whatever you want to communicate. Name dropping, okay. How much should this be done? What's the balance in terms of the people you talk to and you're mentioned in the app? Okay. You don't want to have it littered with name dropping, as you can imagine. I always suggest speak to at least 10 people. I like minimum 5 students, minimum 5 alumni. If you can go beyond, getting to a total of 20 plus is fantastic. And when you get to those kind of numbers, it becomes easy to make broad statements that have a lot of impact, where you're saying, having spoken to 10 applicants and 8 current students, and you can reference the very key things you learned. And then if there's a specific moment like we were talking about with Women in Business for Alana, then that's another time that you can come back and highlight that individual person. But in the essays, you're mostly going to stay on you. When you go through the details of the application, depending on the school, you're going to see lots of opportunities to, they're going to ask you to name drop in many sections. Who have you spoken to? What have you spoken about? So even before you fully engage, go to the school's application and look very, very carefully at like the short answer questions and all of those areas that you can give them information. And you'll find that that's where you can tend to do a lot of this name dropping. How important is GMAT score in an application? Very important, but everyone's holistic these days. When I was talking to IESE, he was saying about 25% of IESE's decision was based on the GMAT or GRE score, to give you an idea in that kind of holistic setting. Question for Alana. Okay. How did you relate your work experience and skill set with the future industry you are interested in pivoting to? Alana, you haven't really written those essays yet, so do you want to try and answer that at all?
Yeah, I actually just put a reply in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm
for that,
scrolling
but
down.
I can explain it out loud for the group as well. But I guess part of sort of that experience by speaking with people that are in sort of like the position I'm looking to pivot to, I sort of talk to them about sort of what the job entails, what skills are needed, and then just sort of understanding from their perspective or from multiple perspectives, because I spoke to a few different people. I can then identify what skills I have from my past experiences and what I have from my current role, and then I can use that to relate between my current role and then my future position.
Oh, Jesse, I think you're muted.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. Sorry about that. So I was reading another question that would students and alumni not take deferred applicants as seriously since they're quite a bit younger with less experience, and how to avoid that? I understand what you're saying, but as long as you are confident, perhaps you might have a lower percentage of people who will respond to you. I mean, I think there's certainly some truth to what you're saying when you can already say, I've been working at, Bain for 2 years or whatever. Yes, to some of those people, they may see more credibility and be more willing to talk to you. But, if you write to 10 people, I still think you're going to get 4 or 5 responses. How to avoid that? Ask some very specific questions even in your initial message. Give them a little bit of background on yourself so that they can take you seriously. Give a little idea of your goals and why you want to go to that school, and then ask 1 or 2 questions in your initial message, and I think that will help a lot. Would schools take letters of recommendations from alumni if you've just met them via LinkedIn? I feel that may not be strong letter of recommendation, or do schools allow you to submit more letters of recommendation? Okay. When I was saying a letter of support, so differentiating from a letter of recommendation. So I'm absolutely not saying to ask someone you talked to once through LinkedIn to become one of your 1 or 2 recommenders. That should be someone who knows you really, really well. This is a different situation, and not every school accepts this, but many do, where that alum can essentially write a letter to the admissions committee saying, hey, I've spoken to this person X number of times, and I'm really excited by their goals, and I believe in them, and whatever other nice things they might have to say to you, and that can give you a little leg up. But check if the school accepts those from alumni. You can just even ask the any of the admissions representatives, and they'll be able to confirm. How much should you research influence you changing your goals, particularly if you are a cultural fit for the program? How much should your research influence you changing your goals? Can you expand on that, B? I'm not clear on exactly what you mean. No? Okay. So I'll try and answer it the way that I understand it. Basically, I don't think your research should completely change your goals unless the things you discover actually change what you really want to do. In Alana, in your case, you haven't picked any companies really yet, right? So I think in Alana's case, this would be an example where through your research, you're going to let it influence you to help you come up with target companies for post-graduation. Is that right?
Yes. And I guess also I can kind of speak to this just from my experience like researching. This was back like early in my individual research. I was looking at a program and I could see how it would greatly benefit my goals, and like I could see a path to successfully accomplishing my goals like post program. But one thing I noticed is that sort of it didn't really align with my sort of values and passions, specifically looking at sort of my interest and passion for diversity. One thing I noticed about this specific program was that out of its significantly large cohort, it was only about 30% female, which it doesn't really align with the experience I want to have in the program. So it's not, so that was something that kind of, I wasn't willing to compromise while in my MBA program. So I know like this isn't like sort of exactly how your question is framed, but just looking at your own personal goals, I don't think, or me personally, that's not something that I would be willing to sort of compromise in my experience, even if I know that it would help me meet my professional goals. So I think sort of like the inverse, that like culturally it could be a really good fit, but it's sort of up to you to determine whether or not that's something you would be willing to sort of not let go of your goals, but if that's something you are willing to sort of take precedent over what you're looking for in your program.
Excellent. And I will come back to, there's another question here. How do you fit all this information research into the limited amount of time you have in interviews and word counts and essays? We talked a little bit on the essays and all of the other areas of the application that you can plug this information into. Regarding the interviews, the most important questions, and that basically every school will ask you, with the exception of like HBS and this kind of thing, why, and they will occasionally, why this school, why are you doing an MBA, and why now? So with all of this research, you don't have to be trying to do so much. It will come up if you've really done this well when you are answering those questions. And with LBS, for example, they have one of the toughest interviews out there in my view. Sometimes they go like 2 hours. They just drill down. So if you're having an LBS interview, you will start with your answering why LBS, and you'll mention a few things, and most of the time they'll keep asking follow-up questions. And because you've done all of this homework, you will know the program so well that it just comes out really naturally. They ask you a question and it's top of mind. So in these interviews, this is how you really blow them away at that point, because they're used to drilling down and starting to get vaguer and vaguer answers. But when you've done this process thoroughly, you're excited to talk about these things and, you know, the different stages of the program, and you end up in this just fabulous conversation with them. They get really excited. I've had people say, you know, I've never spoken to someone who knows our program this well before arriving. So that's kind of the idea of how you can really use it in the interviews. Let me go down. Answered. Okay. MD students, working physicians. Okay. So you're a doctor wanting to apply to top MBA programs, and is there any way to capitalize on that? Yeah, that's terrific. I mean, I love so-called non-traditional applicants. I do think you have an advantage. So really, because your kind of pool of competition is much smaller. As far as how to capitalize, it's the same as any background. Just highlight how that background in medicine and things you've learned prepares you. It gives you some of the things you need to achieve whatever goal you're saying for your post MBA. How they're transferable to that short-term and long-term goal, and then you're going to explain what the missing pieces are as well. Copy template. Sorry. When should letter of support endorsement sent? After I've applied in a round or before? Letters of support, ideally, you want to get before the application deadline. Some schools will still accept them even after. Kenora accepts letters of department. Don't know. Duke, I think they do, but don't quote me on that. I don't remember for sure. Anna, you answered these. Okay, great. All right, so any other questions that I can answer, or let's see, anything else that I can make sure and do? Just how important it is to connect with them in. Oh, okay. Yeah, connecting with, okay, so you're asking how important it is to connect with the admins and wondering the best approach. That one depends on the school, but the easiest way is going to a lot of those events, and especially if they have any of those kind of with breakout sessions where you can get an opportunity to talk with them one-on-one. Many schools, you can send questions you're having trouble answering. You can ask them sometimes for help in connecting with certain alumni, and asking to have kind of a coffee chat, but try and think again of good questions to ask them. Sometimes when you do have those talks, you will end up with a kind of bond. I have an applicant that I just finished working with who's dealing with a lot of focus on mental health issues and has a personal story. She shared that story, and the admin ended up getting quite emotional, and that just led into, you know, more kind of personal conversation. Virtual sessions, and then ask for their email. Okay. Got a TOEFL waiver. Oh, great. Okay. That's I'm glad to hear it was that effective for you. Okay, so let me we're kind of winding down, so let me stop sharing here and switch back to presentation one moment. Okay. Okay, so I am going to be offering a 10% discount on my own services. If you are interested, then just message me and I'll be happy to send you that. Also, if you send me any message, even just saying hi, so we're in touch, I have some other helpful documents that I will send you. One called MBA Application Roadmap, which is really to help you kind of summarize your overall application and what you want to communicate. An application schedule, which will really help you plan out the different stages. And my dual lens MBA interview prep method is a really, really good way to do some self-preparation. So go ahead and message me through Leland, and I will be able to send you those materials. And I also wanted to check with people and see, would there be any interest in the future of doing, I was debating doing some kind of paid small group classes to help a small group with focused research. Let me know in the chat if that would be helpful to anyone. And why don't we start wrapping up there? I want to really thank Alana for being my kind of case study, my guinea pig here. So this has been really wonderful. And do you have any last comments?
I guess I would first want to thank you. Even though we've only been working for about a week, I think it definitely has sort of changed my sort of my strategy to applications. And just sort of the insight that you've given me has been immensely helpful. Even just looking between sort of what I was working on before I started working with you, it's kind of night and day. And I just feel so much more confident with sort of what I can sort of now put together and what I can sort of leverage in my research and the different tips and tricks that you've taught me. And I think it's definitely something that I would like to sort of work more with you on. And just sort of help me tailor just my other applications and just sort of better narrow down sort of this research and how exactly how to strategize and sort of get it to a really great finished product for me to submit. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a great reward that just going through this little process, and we actually met for the first time live yesterday, and so I'm really excited that you have decided to work together on the full process of your applications, and I'm really looking forward to getting going on that. So we'll wrap up there. I'm just looking for one more. What I got from this, and I hope others did as well, is that working with a consultant can really help you tailor a proper application. Well, thank you. Yes. Well, I hope I get to talk to some of you offline, and please get in touch if I can help you with the entire process or at any stage when you get to interviews, if you need a second opinion, any of those kind of things.